All right, guys, we got the PPI news and we got the jobless claims news, and it's kind of a mixed bag, along with the fact we have Trump tariff news also rattling the markets. I'm going to share each of those with you and give my interpretation on what I think could happen with the markets over the next week or two here, and it's going to be really impactful. I think you're really going to like what I have to share with you. Down in the description, you'll find a link to the Discord. Code word doctor is going to get you a discount on that, and over there, I will share more of the news, information, technicals, buys, sells, and so will the other panel experts that are over there. Stockmo. I also have some live trading going on today at 2 p.m. over there with some zero DTEs. Always a good time. You guys can learn from what we do over there as well. And I'm going to tell you more about that. But in the meantime, I do want to get into the numbers that we got, into the news that we got on the Trump tariff news especially, and then also into the technicals on the market to share with you. The Nvidia stock update, Nvidia stock price prediction, what we could see based on what the market's telling us. And then also I'll talk about Bitcoin as well. So let's put the news up here for the PPI numbers. So PPI month over month and core both coming in at 0.1%, beating consensus. And that subdued inflation is something I said we absolutely want to see. That is positive news. The initial jobless claims, not wildly above the 240 consensus, coming in at 248. The continuing jobless claims at 1910 consensus came in at 1956. And the chart actually explains a little bit more the story and how to interpret this. The Fed said that right now it's in the soft data, but we're looking for hard data for that weakness in the labor market. Well, it's starting to hit the hard data, and you guys can see the spike that we got after this slow, steady climb over time, that this is beating that trend so far for the initial jobless claims. It's really starting to spike up. This is over the past 3 years. Here's what it looks like over the past year. You can see a little bit more zoomed in just how much that is above all the other bars that we have here on this bar chart. So the other thing that I want to share with you is the stock futures. This comes from last night, late on Wednesday is when the futures were falling, and it says live update. So it says 8:28 a.m., but it's been updated over time since then. But I'm going to scroll down to this part that I've highlighted for you. And this is a quote from Trump saying, well, part of the quote, it says, so we're going to be sending out letters in about a week and a half or 2 weeks. And that's important. And I'll tell you why in just a moment. It says telling them what the deal is. So the two things I want to tell you. First of all, I said that the next 2 weeks should be pretty good for us unless Trump comes out, and the Trump tariff news is something that is evolving and always changing. So I said, unless that happens. Well, it happened. Said the next 2 weeks should be good. Now they might not be so good, especially while we have that big old question mark. That's uncertainty. And we're a little bit fearful that it's not going to be a great offer. The word of threaten, not really great for us. And I don't know if you've ever been told what the deal is. It's almost never in a positive connotation when somebody says, I'm going to tell you what the deal is. It's usually an ultimatum type situation. And so the market probably isn't going to like that ultimatum type situation. And then that, like I said, a week and a half to 2 weeks until he puts that out there. So it pulls forward what I said about the next 2 weeks should be good. And then after that, leading up to that July 9th deadline, maybe not so good. Now it's the next week and a half, week and a half to 2 weeks. Might not necessarily be so good. So with that said, I do want to get over into the technicals on this. And so we'll put up the charts and we'll talk about what we're seeing so far. So on QQQ, which by the way, in the background here, I have the ticker symbol. Let me know if it shows up well on your screen. I can make it show up more if we need to. I don't want it to distract from the technicals, but that was requested that you could more easily see the ticker. And so I thought that was a good request to make, so I left it in there. So here's the rising wedge pattern. That's a bearish reversal pattern. That's confirmed when we break out. We retest this support line right here as resistance, get rejected, and then we sell off. Is that going to happen? Well, I don't know. We're going to find out soon, as it's 8:55 right now Eastern time. So 35 minutes until market open. Let me take down the technicals and show you some of the near-term things I'm looking at. This 5-period EMA, if we lose that, watch the 13.4 support down at 525. If we lose that, that can lead to a bearish crossover, and then the market could sell down further. And then we want to watch and see the low 500s for that massive support to come in. There is some other support along the way, by the way, such as about 522 down here with this previous high that we had before we sold off the last time, and then had this little leg up, which really made that point of the rising wedge pattern. The SPY, going to be a lot the same thing. If that uncertainty is enough to rattle the markets, we could be selling down here to about the 13 if we lose the 5, which happens to be about 594. We have another support line that happens to be about 591. The 50 isn't all the way down until about 577, which goes along with about the bottom here. Maybe this is that thing that gives us the gap fill. It really depends. It might also take a hawkish Fed to come out next week on June 18th at 2:30 when Jerome Powell speaks. We'll see what exactly they have to say. We'll see what the market is saying and how they're digesting this news. So I don't know that it's horribly negative. I don't know that it's enough downward pressure from the Trump tariff news to really offset things, but it is something that is worrisome and makes it harder to actually put in those all-time highs that I thought that we would see over the next 2 weeks, especially because of the pull forward from that July 9th dead time into, hey, we're going to tell you what the deal is in the next 10 to 14 days, week and a half to 2 weeks, or whatever it was that he said. So when we go to IWM, the stocks that are most sensitive out of the three, this is the Russell 2000 stocks being tracked here, definitely much more sensitive to the NASDAQ 100 stocks or the S&P 500 stocks. So these being more sensitive to what goes on with tariffs, not taking it so well. We have all the way down until 210 to retest that neckline. We want to hold 210 because I really want to see that price prediction come out here, that price target of 248 that I thought that we would hit on the next big run within 2025 here, at least over the next month or two. We're going to have to watch and see what the deal is. We're going to have to see what tariff news we get. We're going to have to see if the Fed comes out dovish or not. Trump not making it easy for the Fed to come out dovish with more saber rattling, if you want to call it that, with the tariffs. So that's the commentary that I have on the indices. I'll get to Nvidia and Bitcoin in a moment. If you want to see more of my analyses and how I'm trading this according to what we see develop throughout the day today, a link in the description for the Discords there waiting for you. Code word doctor is going to get you 50% off your first month sign up. So for less than $1 a day, not only do you get access to my technicals, my analyses, talk to me. There's other panel experts over there as well. We're a whole team of people dedicated to helping you navigate the markets, learn how to achieve financial freedom, and also how to build alpha in your portfolio with the news and information, technicals, buys, sells that we provide. You guys can use that in your due diligence and use it for ideas for what you'll be buying, selling, investing in, you name it. Like I said, code word doctor is going to get you access to that. Code word doctor also works for the courses through Stockmo Academy. He's a personal friend of mine, put together amazing courses for technical analysis, which includes technical analysis trading through the bread recipe, which I personally use. It's the best that I've ever found. The success rate is well over that 50% mark, where you win more than you lose. And the times that you lose, it's not that bad, because you learn all about stop losses and you learn about setting your price target for take profit, all that kind of stuff. Through that technical analysis course, I trade using options to build that alpha in my portfolio. There's an options course as well that is just, oh man, is the icing on top of the cake, or the raisins in the bread. I don't know what you want to call it, but in any case, it is also incredible. Code word doctor is going to get you a massive discount when you sign up for those courses. Bundling the two courses together, not only is that match made in heaven, but it also is a further discount beyond that code word doctor. Links in the description. Guys, let's get into Nvidia and Bitcoin here. So putting up Nvidia for you. Once again, rising wedge pattern, same commentary. If we break out of here, watch for a retest of this support line as resistance. And also in terms of the EMAs, watch for the loss of the 5 period. We're currently trading down below it in the pre-market. Watch the 13 for support. Trading down below both of those could lead to that bearish crossover where 5 goes over the 13, and then what we want to watch out down below for where that 50 is. Nvidia is one of my long-term holds, and it's one of those investments that I have that as we start to dip down closer to that 2-digit range, it's when I start to get hungry. And I mentioned that before we ever hit that $85 low. I said, if we go back down to the 2 digits, that's the time that you're really going to see that outperformance. And we definitely did. I said that on YouTube. I also said it over at the Discord. We made a 67% recovery, a 67% climb from that 2-digit territory, that low when it was $85 up till the peak when it hit closer to $144. And so hopefully you were able to take advantage of that. And then over to Bitcoin, this one's a little bit more advanced in terms of what happens when you lose the 5, you retest the 13. Look at that touch right there on support at the 13. And that's exactly what I was saying about the Qs, what I was saying about SPY, and also Nvidia. Now you can see it with Bitcoin as well, that resting on support. If we lose that, then we can get that bearish crossover. And these are very near-term technicals. These are not meant for long-term because it's a 5-day moving average that we have, an exponential moving average and a 13-day exponential moving average. The bigger ones are like the 50, the 100, the 200. Those are the ones, the 20 can even be very indicative as well, or 21-day for the EMA. 20 for SMA. They can be very indicative too of the future price action that you get. What I'm looking at is the initial reaction that we get here and then watching to see what follows. If the initial reaction ends up being that we're starting to get a sell, then it becomes, okay, where do we find that top out? Are we going to get a rejection on resistance? If so, we can potentially go lower from there. Or instead, are we going to find support and we're going to rest there for a while and try and regain that momentum back to the upside, whether it's the NASDAQ 100 through the Qs, SPY, IWM, Nvidia, Bitcoin, you guys name it. That's the game that we're playing. And if you guys want to see how that game is played, like I said, links in the description for the Discord. Make sure you use code word doctor. Same thing for those courses. Use code word doctor. Trust me with the bundle. That bundle, not only is it just, it's such a wild value to bundle them together and get a discount on that. And then code word doctor just brings it, puts it in such an affordable range where other creators are putting out inferior content for much more cash. This is one that's very respectful of your wallet and your time. And it also offers top-notch value as well. Guys, thanks for watching. I am Dr. Stock, Doctor of Education. Remember, my friends, that learning is earning. We'll see you next video.